Where is your confidence level at right now as you take this momentum?
But at the end of the day, it's one win. Continuing to build upon it, take care of business at home, and protect home court.
Congrats on the win, Don.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
In this year's 2024 playoffs, Donovan Mitchell willed this Cavaliers team to the second round to then ultimately be ruled out due to injury, which practically ended the hopes of advancing. When watching Donovan operate on the floor in this postseason, it looked like he was nearly unstoppable when getting to the paint or when creating shots for not only himself but his teammates as well. But the question of how good he actually was in this playoffs is something I want us all to answer. As we analyze the film in this video, we'll have a pretty good idea by the end of it, so let's dive right in and see how well Mitchell picked apart defenses in the playoffs. Starting off with a point I just had stated, Mitchell was able to create any shot he wanted when he was on the floor. So just when you think Holiday has him on lock, Donovan is able to break free for a split second to gain possession of the ball. And what looks like solid defense from the Celtics to contain Mitchell turns into better offense with this amazing high placement off the glass on this underhand floater. Throughout his 10 games in the playoffs, Mitchell couldn't be denied getting downhill with his 16 drops per game, which led to defenses collapsing consistently. And if you look at Paolo on this play, you'll notice that he's totally locked in on Mitchell in the air, just forgetting about his man cutting on the backside. So with an elegant bounce off the hardwood, the ball lands right in Mobley's hands, who can then stay patient to go slam it home. You would see a lot of these possessions where Mitchell could break away from his initial defender with the handle or speed to get downhill, and since this gains a lot of attention from the defense, it now opens up these angles for his guys to cut through, and at this point, all it takes is for Donovan to put it right on the plate for them to go eat. When you take into account that Mitchell is only about 6'2", that's when you notice how difficult these passes are to pull off, because once he gets down low, he's hovered over by guys who are 6'10 plus, but now is when you can also factor in that 6'10 wingspan of his, and this adds context as to why he's so comfortable hanging in the air to wrap this pass around the bigs to gain the assist. Now, not all the time will he get deep in the paint to make one of these dump offs, because with the attention he commands on the court that we touched on earlier, he can use this to keep two defenders locked in on him when he's operating on the floor, and before they even know it, the pass is flying right past him for an easy 2 points. Take this play for an example. When Donovan comes off this screen, he gets into Drew's space to make sure he stays connected to him, but then he continues with that downhill momentum to make sure Al Horford stays connected as well. So now with Mobley right in that sweet spot and Al on the other side of the paint, Mitchell can dime this right through the gap for Evan to go get the easy one on that left side. With Donovan attracting a lot of these doubles due to his scoring threat, he has to have many ways to keep the defense pulled towards him while staying calm. So when coming off this pick and roll action, he used the in and out into a backward stunt to make Franz get puzzled for a second, which in turn makes Wendell have to stay in front to stop any drive. But this is all just to buy time for Allen to get behind the defense to finish off this alley-oop connection. All of this shows just how well Donovan can create any look he wants on the floor, and it's not just on his drives where this happens, as the defense is so worried about him scoring from anywhere on the floor that they tend to forget about the guy closer to the basket, and with some wizardry, Mitchell zips it down to Allen for the emphatic slam. Now this is all the ways he can manipulate the defense to open up opportunities of his liking for his teammates, but trust me, when he needed to carve out a lane for himself, well, he had no problem doing so. If you're to look at the defense like an obstacle course he must beat, well, he first has to break past Franz Wagner, so that's why he used the screen to get him jammed up. Now here comes his second obstacle in Joe Ingles, who Mitchell can then use the change of direction to break his pursuit angle, and with his last final boss of Wendell Carter to beat, Mitchell can serve that Euro step to make him get in the air prematurely, and the layup inside is now easy money. That finishing move in the Euro step causes the defense a ton of problems, because just when you think he's gonna go up off that drive, he slips right past him in a quickness, and now they're left watching the ball fall through the basket. Due to Donovan having those long arms and getting low on the crossovers, it makes the defenders bite hard on his moves, but like we also discussed, with him only being 6'2", going up against bigs all the time will make it majorly difficult to convert at a high clip, so that's why having these Euro steps in your bag is key. You'll see as he comes up the floor on this play, he tells Strus to slide up the floor, but why is that? Well, if you look at the spacing, you'll quickly notice that there's not a single soul guard in the basket, so Mitchell looks off this attack angle so he can catch Wagner off guard when going downhill, but now with a 6'10 forward glued to him, Donovan can either kick it out to Okoro, retreat back out to reset the offense, or since he has that Euro unlocked in his inventory, he can bump off Franz while stepping through and use that soft touch to complete the bucket. It's quite amazing that at his shorter height, Donovan can still manage to score the ball while staying relatively low to the ground, but it's all because he has that perfect touch to float it right over the top of the defense once reaching the paint. When coming up the floor here, Mitchell rejects the screen with a crossover breaking off Jonathan Isaac, so now when you analyze the situation, you have both 6'10 Paolo and Franz waiting on you if you continue left, so Mitchell decides to push towards the right before Euroing back towards that left side, and as you can see, he barely beats the contest, but by placing this ball high and soft, it goes right through the net over Wagner. when you add in that floater into his scoring arsenal, it opens up his game massively because at any time he's able to get past the defense with the handle, and just before he clashes inside with the bigs, he can stop and pop right over the top. You'll see Mitchell use these floaters when drawing fouls, as right when Banchero sticks that hand out to stay connected, Donovan will gather into that floater immediately for the and one connection.
Created the space. Mitchell
Other times, you'll see Mitchell use that high carryover to outbeat defenders to the spot to then toss it over their heads, and if they aren't ready for it and end up wrapping him up when he initiates the high carry, well, here's where that floater comes in handy and Mitchell gets the bucket plus the foul.
Cleveland, and Mitchell fouled again.
This slashing game of his was way too much to handle in the postseason, as there was way too many ways he could slice up your defense, and at times it honestly felt like a game of now you see me, now you don't when he was pursuing the basket. This same level of creation went right into his shooting, as he could cross the first defender out the picture, feed the hezzy to the next defender trying to stop him, and then when the big keeps backpedaling instead of standing ground, the mid-range jumper was straight cash. With Donovan, he doesn't necessarily need to use a lot of combo handles to get an opening for his shot, because with his drive being such a threat, when he comes up the floor, all it takes is for the defense to take one step back, opening up this slight gap, and now we can rise up for the 3-ball. I know it may seem small, but you'll see Mitchell take advantage of this all the time, as here when Tatum takes that step back, it's bombs away.
Offensive production to get a burst. Oh, there's a burst.
And when coming off this handoff, Markelle is so focused on stopping the drive that he isn't expecting this step back, and now this jumper from 21 feet is on point. It's really as simple as reading the defense and reacting in a quick manner. If they do continue to backpedal when you're coming at them, then go ahead and rise up for the jumper. Sure, Mitchell does have these angles to attack the rim in transition, but Isaac may be able to shift down to bother the shot, so instead of that, when Jalen keeps backpedaling, Mitchell goes ahead and pulls up for the tray ball. Not every time though it'll be his defender backpedaling, but you will see the big play drop coverage off the screen, and when this much space is given on the court, it's a no-brainer to go ahead and take the shot. These type of shots right here are probably the easiest ones Mitchell's seen all playoffs, because there were these possessions where he had to get one up late in the shot clock over 2 defenders, and sidestep pull-ups over a 6'10" Paolo Banchero that ended in nothing but net. For someone who didn't get much help from his counterparts in terms of big performances and playing through injury, Donovan Mitchell did all he could to will his team to success, but ultimately fell short. Do I personally think that Mitchell is enough to get his team over the hump? It's kinda hard to say. I think Mitchell is an electric player who can create any look he wants and needs on the floor, but to elevate this team to the next level, they're gonna need another star who can put up huge outings when it matters most. You tell me, what do you all think about Donovan Mitchell in this year's playoffs? If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you're first to know when I upload. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.